In the late 1950s, a moment happened that would change the lives of two young people forever. Elvis Presley, a 24-year-old rock star, met Priscilla Beaulieu, a 14-year-old girl, while he was stationed in Germany with the U.S. Army. Their worlds were worlds apart. He, the king of rock and roll, already a global icon. She, a shy teenager, caught in the whirlwind of a world she never imagined. But when their eyes met, something sparked. An undeniable connection. A love story was born. A romance that began like a fairy tale, but would soon be tested by the pressures of fame, time, and the heartbreaking realities of life. This is the tragic love story of Elvis and Priscilla Presley, a story of youth, passion, and the silent pain that would eventually tear them apart. Their love story began in 1959, when Elvis Presley was stationed in Germany with the U.S. Army. Priscilla Beaulieu, a shy, soft-spoken 14-year-old girl, was living in the same city. It was a world of stark contrast. Elvis, already the king of rock and roll, living a life full of fame and admiration, and Priscilla, a teenager trying to find her place in a world that felt much too big. But when they met, something undeniable sparked between them. Despite the age difference, despite the whirlwind of Elvis's celebrity life, there was a quiet connection, a bond that neither of them could deny. Elvis, often surrounded by fans, saw something different in Priscilla. She wasn't dazzled by his fame. She was genuine, grounded, and unlike anyone he had met before. And for Priscilla, Elvis wasn't just a famous star. He was someone who truly listened, who made her feel seen in a world that was often overwhelming. It was the beginning of a love that would defy time, distance, and the pressures of fame. As Elvis finished his time in Germany and returned to the United States, their relationship didn't fade. In fact, it only grew stronger. They began a long-distance romance, relying on letters and phone calls. For Priscilla, it was a time of waiting, of longing, and of dreaming of a future that seemed just out of reach. For Elvis, it was a time of intense pressure, as his career soared to even greater heights. But despite the distance, their connection deepened. In the years that followed, Priscilla moved to the United States, eventually making her home with Elvis in Graceland. The two grew even closer, though the pressures of Elvis's career never truly eased. There were moments of happiness, shared laughter, quiet evenings at Graceland, and the bond that continued to grow between them. But there were also moments of struggle. Elvis's fame cast a long shadow over their relationship. There were constant demands on his time, constant pressure to be the king. And Priscilla, still so young, was often left trying to navigate this overwhelming world of celebrity. The spotlight, the fans, the media, they were all part of the package Elvis carried with him. And though she loved him deeply, Priscilla found herself questioning what they could truly have in this world of noise. In 1967, after years of dating, their relationship reached a new chapter. Elvis and Priscilla, despite the challenges, made the decision to marry. In a small, intimate ceremony in Las Vegas, the world watched as the king of rock and roll wed the woman who had captured his heart. The wedding, while private, felt like a dream to many. A fairy tale come true. Elvis and Priscilla were the epitome of a perfect couple. Their bond seemed unbreakable, and to the public, it looked like they had it all. A glamorous marriage, a beautiful daughter, and a life that many envied. But the truth was, the pressures of fame and the realities of their different worlds were starting to weigh on them. It wasn't long before the cracks began to show, and the dream that they had once imagined began to fade. Behind the gates of Graceland, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. Elvis's grueling schedule of touring, his increasing struggles with his health, and the emotional toll of his fame began to take their toll on the couple. Priscilla, now a mother to their daughter, Lisa Marie, was trying to find herself in a world that felt more like a stage than a home. The life she had once dreamed of was not as easy as she had imagined. Elvis, the man who had once been her refuge, was now consumed by the pressures of his career. His infidelities, his battles with his own demons, and his desire for control over his life pushed Priscilla further away. Despite their love for each other, they began to drift. The strain was evident. Their time together became less frequent, their conversations more distant. The woman who had once been by Elvis's side through it all now found herself questioning whether they could ever return to the closeness they once shared. The world saw the glamour, the beautiful family, but behind closed doors, the reality was different. By 1972, Elvis and Priscilla's marriage had reached a breaking point. The pressures, the heartache, and the distance had taken their toll. They made the painful decision to divorce in 1973, after nearly 7 years of marriage. Their divorce wasn't filled with public drama or fights. In fact, it was remarkably calm. They still held hands as they walked out of the courthouse together, a final, bittersweet image of the love they had shared. The world watched, and the story that had once felt like a fairy tale was now an end. An end that, while painful, showed the deep respect they still had for one another. Even after the divorce, Elvis and Priscilla continued to be a part of each other's lives. They remained close, and Priscilla often spoke fondly of Elvis in the years that followed, even after his death. The love they shared, though complicated, was never truly lost. Their relationship may have ended, but the bond between them remained. A reminder that even in the face of separation, love in some form endures. The love story between Elvis and Priscilla Presley was one of a kind, filled with passion, youth, fame, and ultimately heartbreak. It was a love story that began like a fairy tale, but was tested by the pressures of fame, the struggles of personal life, and the harsh realities that come with being in the spotlight. Despite the divorce, the love they shared never truly faded. Elvis and Priscilla Presley had a bond that remained unbroken even after everything. Their story, though tragic, was one that defined an era. A love story wrapped in fame, youth, and destiny. A reminder that sometimes love can't conquer all, but it leaves its mark, forever etched in time. If you were touched by the love story of Elvis and Priscilla, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts on their unforgettable love story. We'd love to hear from you.